Hi, I'm live. Yay. I wanted to go live today to talk about a couple of things that are actually materializing, and I'm witnessing it in the world. I'm witnessing it in the relationships that I have with people. I'm I use Facebook and social media as a way to pop like a thermometer into the butthole of society. And so I've been paying attention, and while there are some hard things happening right now, I also am always looking for the tangible, beautiful manifestations of this shift that I feel so attuned to. And so I wanted to kind of give some timelines and talk about what's going on. And I thought going live might be a really nice way to do it today. So, first of all, I would love for you to think about this is what I've been doing. I would love for us all to think about what was going on for us in the month of October. Um, Within the 2 week span between the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse, what was happening for you during that time? It would have been around the 22nd or so of October, and then it would have also spanned through to the time of I think it was like the 7th of November. Those were the two eclipses, and something was unique about those eclipses this year. Both the planet of our receptivity, of our desires, of what we truly, truly would love to receive from life, that planet Venus was aligned with the sun at the time of the solar eclipse in October. And then in November, the planet that helps us to understand, communicate, receive transmissions, have ideas, broaden our consciousness, Mercury. Mercury was aligned with the sun at the time of the lunar eclipse in Taurus, in November. And both of those planets are now present as morning or evening stars on the western horizon line, which means that there is a physical, visual manifestation of something that we were mulling over around the time of the eclipses. And I can share with you that during that time, I met with a group of women, a small, intimate group of women, and we are all writers. We are all we're not just writers. There's a whole crop of us that feel a very strong calling. We feel a calling to share a message, to be a symbol of hope, to understand and know things that contradict common societal awareness. And we're being called in a very big way to share those messages right now. And I know that there are a lot of people kind of sharing their messages and getting it on YouTube and writing books, and there's a huge influx of these truths being brought to the surface right now. And that there's a really important reason for that, and I think it's because we are moving into a stage of self-discernment that is what it's doing is everyone's coming into a greater degree of self-discernment for their own message, and they're sharing that message. And those messages are not meant for people to hear and be like, whoa, everything she's saying is true, that must be the truth, blah blah blah, like I'm gonna follow her now. That's not really the purpose of all of these messages to come to the surface. What it's meant to do is to spark that impulse within every person to understand that, well, if she can do it, if she's drawing her message, if she's got the courage to share her truth with the world, then maybe I can acknowledge my own truth as well. Maybe there's a nugget in what she said that activates something that I know is also true, and it gives me the confidence to own and trust my self-discernment and at least live my truth for myself. And so there's been this surge, and the whole point of the surge of sharing these messages was not necessarily to be like, oh, I'm the leader of the truth now and listen to my truth and that's the truth. Like, that is actually not the purpose of it. And moving into 2023, we're going to have more and more of this desire to understand and own what our personal discernment actually is. And we might feel less resonance with the messages of the people that we listen to, or the YouTubers that we love, or the astrologers that we love. We might just feel a little bit less resonance with that, because it's not because what they're sharing isn't their truth, but it's because what is stronger and clearer inside of all of us is our own inner discerning truth. What we are, our connection to the field of wisdom gets stronger and stronger when we tap into it, and when we acknowledge, and when we let the truth that we're sharing come into the surface and come into the world. It's like creating a neural pathway that strengthens our connection to the truth, the bigger truth, the truth that our soul is meant to navigate the world with. And so I was meeting with a group of ladies during the eclipse cycle, and we were all talking about these books that we're writing and these truths that we want to share, and realizing that as we were sharing our nuggets with each other, it was strengthening the resolve and the faith that we had in ourselves. And we all walked away from that meeting with this renewed courage. So that would have been the planting of the seeds of Mercury and Venus during that eclipse window. And so I was really curious to know how that would actually tangibly manifest. And so I've been watching and waiting, and I'm in contact with those women, and they've all just been working diligently on their books, and I've also been busy as well. I literally have a physical manifestation of something I've been working on, and I'm like overwhelmingly excited about it. But what this actually activated in me is also this awareness that Jupiter is in the final degrees of Pisces. It's in the final degree of the zodiac, the 29th degree. This is essentially the moment in the cycle where the mother universe, or the mother body, is completely full and ready to give birth. I have a person in my feed right now who is like ready to go into labor, and her partner just took these beautiful pictures of her, and she is like so full and ready, just ready to welcome this new person, this new individual, this new creation into the world. And that's exactly what Jupiter is at right now. It's at the fullest of its incubation, and it's been growing this expression for the last 12 years. It's taken Jupiter 12 years to move from Aries all the way through each sign of the zodiac to get to its fullest and ripest moment right now. So we're in a massive moment of completion and readiness for the next journey, the next chapter, the next incarnation. And so I was reflecting, like, okay, so what was I doing in 2010? What was happening for me during that time? And oh man, that was such a pivotal time in my life. I was living a completely different life. I was married at that time. I was doing vintage fashion blogging, and even though those were the circumstances, what was happening internally was I was starting to see myself as a valuable, beautiful, individual human. It was like the very first time I was actually starting to have some like self-awareness. And I was doing that by looking at pictures of myself, like all these different angles. I was writing every single day and looking at pictures of myself and establishing this love relationship with myself that I had never had before that time. As a teenager, I was like very uncomfortable in my body. I had really bad acne, and I couldn't stand to look at myself. I had acne all over my chest, all over my back. Like I couldn't stand to be touched. I was just I just wanted to be invisible. And in 2010, it was the first time in my life that I started seeing myself and letting myself be seen. And that also was the very first time that I had my like sort of spiritual break. Like it was like a mental break through breakdown kind of experience. It was October of 2010 that this bizarre thing happened, and I started hearing voices, and it led me into complete new terrain. And so for the last 12 years, I've had a cycle of self experience, of understanding self, of seeking my spiritual truth, of, I went through all kinds of training, and it was just like a huge block of time where if there was a baby being born right now, it would be this it will make me emotional to feel into it. It just feels like, well, now that you know what you're here on this planet to enjoy and experience, now that you know that this place is your playground, that you can create anything in this place, now that you know, what are you gonna do? It's like the moment in the Never-Ending Story where Sebastian has that little tiny grain of sand, and the Empress says, like, wow, you dream, like, what, you can dream anything from this little grain of sand. And he just starts having dreams. I feel like I'm at that stage. And so I'm inviting all of you to ask yourself, what was starting for you? What was first implanted in you in 2010 that you have nurtured and nourished and manifested through and grown through for the last 12 years? And additionally, was there anything that you decided that you were going to have some new action behind, some new discipline behind around the time of the eclipses? And are you seeing tangible evidence and proof of that in your world now? The very first parts of it would start showing up right now. And I am just going to share some of my excitement. I have a physical copy. This is my proof copy. So you see this bar across here? This is a proof copy of an astrological journal. So for years and years, I've been creating these astrological guidance PDFs for all of the clients who purchased them separately, but usually it was just for people who would get the 2023 or the year ahead readings. I would do these little PDFs. They were like a chart in Excel. Like, they were not they were as beautiful as I could make them at the time, but I'll be honest, like, they were more utilitarian than anything else, and they were more to like remind people of specific days throughout the year. And this year, well, last year, I got like, wow, what if I could make a planner out of it? What if I could make it so that people could have it at their house and like literally like open it up and ask themselves certain questions at certain times? And what would happen if a person aligned their focus at the most optimum astrological time and then ask their higher self very targeted questions to continuously download more and more truth for themselves? What would happen? Because I know that our brains are like these beautiful, amazing answering computers, and any question we ask ourselves, our brain will find the answer to it. Which is why it's so important for you to find out what your primary questions are in life. If you walk around the world and your primary question is like, what the F is this? Or why is this happening? Or what did I do to deserve this? Like in a sort of unfortunate or negative tilt, you're going to find all kinds of evidence for those answers. Your brain will find every single answer and make it like strengthen your question even more. And so there's a way to ask primary questions in the world. There's a way to interface with the world and find different evidence, and improving the quality of your questions is actually part of that. And I promise, like, take asking powerful questions and then combine that with astrologically potent moments, and the neural pathway to the field of wisdom gets strengthened and strengthened and strengthened until that muscle is so strong you don't need anything to tap into that higher self wisdom. You don't need a planner. You don't even need to sit in meditation. You'll just have it automatically. But I know that not all of us have the framework to tune in that way. I created this framework by like literally looking at astrology charts almost every single day for years and years and years. And that was how I created the framework. But not everyone is called to look at astrology charts every day. And so instead, something they could do is recognize that, oh, is it possible? Here, I'll find an example. In January, for instance, on January 2nd, we're going to have Venus moving into Aquarius. And while that might not mean anything to you, what might mean something to you is that we start the year opening up to the reality that we are not an island, but a thread within the fabric of our community. Our receptivity meets the needs of those we are in connection with. Listen. So it's calling us to become a little more receptive and listen and see how we are a part of our communities and how the thread of our existence is very important to those that we are in connection with. So once we put our attention on that, then we can ask ourselves this question: can I receive what I desire by observing and connecting with the greater collective? So can I receive what I desire? Venus rules our desires and receptivity. Can I receive what I desire by observing and connecting with the greater collective? So when you sit and ask yourself that question, automatically your field, your mind, your beautiful soul will begin observing and connecting to the community that you're a part of. And then you'll begin asking yourself, wow, maybe if I help them get what they, all of a sudden these different answers start coming to you. And there are hundreds of transits next year. There's like so many transits. I couldn't possibly map every single one, but I did channel a message for all the most important ones, and I put down these questions. So each month you can see a calendar of the transits, and then you can tune into the wisdom and ask the questions. And then there are pages for journaling the answers. And not only that, but I don't know if you've noticed, I sometimes will post like the energy of the week, like the 10 of Cups or whatever. I included every single one of those for each week of the year, and I call them the weekly initiations. And if you for the last 4 years, I have been mapping the archetypal energetic landscape of the weeks of the year. And the weeks of the year are part of grander cycles that are made up of seasons and, moments where we want to initiate something, moments where we want to maintain something, and moments where we want to shift or change something. And so I've been observing this, and I've been mapping it, and I've been testing it, and finally I feel confident enough to go ahead and publish it and make it available very, very widely and broadly. So I'm sharing this because it's a tangible manifestation of something that I have been fully working on, we're fully developing through for the last 12 years, but more specifically, I planted a seed to publish something just a little while ago, and I already had all the material, so it was just a matter of like putting it all together and jumping through the hoops to create something that was very easy for the user and very practical and very beautiful and elegant and graceful. And so anyways, I'm sharing that with you because it's just mind baffling to actually be experiencing the proof of everything that I've had faith in. And I often wonder and ask myself, what's coming first? Is the premonition that this would happen creating the thing happening, or was it destiny that would happen and I just had to allow myself to move into the destiny? I'm not really sure. It's probably a combination of so many things, but if you have, I would love to hear what is this for you? Do you feel that you're 12 months pregnant or 12 years pregnant with something that you began to birth 12 years ago in 2010? Do you feel that the tangible manifestation of that is now showing up in your world? please comment below. And if you'd like to get a copy of this paperback planner, it's so funny. So right now the moon's in Virgo. This is a proof copy. I received this and now it's literally live. It went live this morning in Amazon. It is available for purchase, but I noticed a couple of typos, so I uploaded a new manuscript. But for a tiny sliver of time, you can actually buy the manuscript with the typos in it. And then my Virgo self sort of cringes on that. I don't know how long it will take for them to update the manuscript, but I know that some people, it's like kind of cool to get a first edition of something where it has like the idiosyncrasies of like they're very minor typos, but I was like, oh, I gotta fix that. So there's still the typo version available on Amazon right now, but I'm not really sure how long it will be there. The updated version will like cross over any minute. But if you'd like to get a copy, regardless of which edition you're going to get, I will leave a link below, and I would really love to hear your reflections of what is happening in your life right now. And yeah, so thank you so much. Please share with me. I have a mind who's observing the world around me. I'm observing my community. I'm observing the comments. I take it all in and I look at it from the scope of like, how is this actually the manifestation of what's turning over right now? And I know we're all doing it in different ways, but I love hearing your stories, so please share. And thank you for watching.